Jerry Hill joins us from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good. I was definitely on the road yesterday for a little bit. Kevin Washington and I drove up to Fayetteville yesterday, and I think a trip that's supposed to take you about 6.5 hours
Yeah.
took us 8.
Oh,
So a
oh no.
little bit of rain we drove through.
Right.
But we made it here and got here about 5:30 or so. So ready for a full day of track today.
That is a day. Well, glad you're there. Glad you made it there safely. You're there for the NCAA Track and Field West Regional, which actually started yesterday. Catch us up. The men were yesterday, and pretty good results for Baylor.
Yeah, 3 of the 5 entrants that Baylor had going yesterday made it into the quarterfinals. Demario Prince won his heat, advanced to the quarterfinals of the 110-meter hurdles, 13:38. So I think he was fifth fastest. That's easy for me to say. And then both Aaron Spencer and Malik Franklin advanced in the 400 meters. Lorenz Cobert did not advance in the 100 or the 200. Just had a little bit of an off day. I think Mike said he cramped a little bit. His calf cramped a little bit in the 200 meters, which that was the one I thought he might even advance all the way to Eugene. And he had run 20.18, 20.19, which, would have easily gotten him in, but he ran 20.93, I believe, yesterday. So just wasn't his day, but hopefully he will come back on Friday in the 4x1 relay and get that group there.
Very good. And the way the schedule's been the last few years, it's men one day, women the next. So today is Ladies' Day in Fayetteville.
It is Ladies' Day in Fayetteville. There's one exception to that. So they did have that was why they originally rescheduled everything. The running was supposed to be, or pretty much everything was supposed to be last night, but they moved the schedule up because there was expected bad weather, coming into Fayetteville. I don't know, may have been the stuff that we drove through, John, but it did arrive last night, and the pole vault was delayed until today. So sophomore Parker Brandon will compete in the pole vault today at 2:40. But otherwise, all Ladies' Day, all day.
All right.
And it gets started. I think the women's event, or at least for Baylor, will be 6:30 tonight with the long jump with Janae DeGans in the long jump.
Very good. And Tyree Kelly is there. And I guess she's entered in 4 different events, right? Including the 2 relays. And
yeah,
our
she'll run. Yeah, she'll run the 100 and 200 tonight. The relays both run on Saturday. And then, like you said, there's 3 pole vaulters in there. We have 5, I believe, entered in the 100 and another 3 in the 200. So a lot of competition today. It was pretty quiet yesterday, but there will be a lot going today, and expect a lot of them. And obviously in the pole vault and long jump, they're actually trying to punch their ticket today, whereas the running events, they still have to go through another round. This is it for the field events. I mean, Janae and then the 3 pole vaulters, they have a chance to punch their ticket to Eugene today, and then the men will be back going on tomorrow.
Yeah. It was fun. Our Sikkim podcast that'll be released today, sometime today, were the 3 pole vaulters, female pole vaulters, all together. And they were great. It was so fun to sit down with them. Pretty amazing. I mean, the 3 ladies who finished 1st, 2nd, and 4th at the Big 12 outdoor meet.
Yeah, that's incredible, John. And what's neat about them is they really, and it's genuine. They pull for each other. They encourage each other. I mean, Molly Haywood had a streak of 4 consecutive Big 12 championship streak, ended in the Big 12 outdoor, but it was by teammate Tinley Kuhn. So, and she was happy for her. Like, you obviously want to win, but I think she was really excited that Tinley got that Big 12 championship. And now if you look at the last 3 years, John, Baylor has won every Big 12 pole vault title. Wow. Because Valencia Lentz won, I guess it would have been 2024 indoor. Yeah. And then Molly won 4 in a row, and now Tinley. So Baylor has won the last 6 Big 12 championships in the pole vault. And I think Molly and Tinley in particular, they should advance. I think Valencia has a chance. I mean, I think she was maybe tied for 12th going into the regional, so she'll have a chance to advance tonight. And that would be exciting to have three vaulters all advance. We've talked about it before, but the men kind of had that going, back in the 80s when you had, how many ever 18-foot pole vaulters.
Right.
Well, women have it going now, and what a great group, and represent Baylor so well. Like you said, I'm sure they had a great time with the podcast, and I was able to interview Molly as well for the My Baylor story, and that story will actually go out today as well.
Okay.
So got a lot of pole vaulting going on, John.
Yeah, but I told them they should get T-shirts made. Pole vault U, Baylor University. Yes. Pole vault U.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it?
It is, and they're all really, really good, great depth there. Weather-wise, everything going to be okay weather-wise today and moving forward?
I think it's going to be off and on, John. I think there's going to be some rain delays. With the running events, you keep going. Like they ran the men's 10,000 meters last night at like 8 or 8:30 or whatever. They'll keep doing that, but any kind of safety deals like the javelin, the pole vault, even like the long jump and triple jump, those things will have to be delayed if you have real heavy rain like we drove through yesterday. So I think there's some of that expected. I think it'll be a little bit off and on. Having covered the Texas high school state championships, I know how that goes. I mean, it's just you just have to kind of wait it out at times. But hopefully they get it all in today, and we have another great day here in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You've made a lot of trips to Fayetteville through the years, but it's probably been a while, hasn't it? When was the last time you were there?
Well, and I can't remember what year it was, John, but the NCAA championships, like the national championships, were held here, and that was probably the last time I've been here.
Okay.
And I don't remember exactly what their title is, but I think it has more to do with their championships. But it's like the world championship or world capital, track capital of the world. Is here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. But that's because of all the championships they won. Yeah. Everybody knows Tracktown USA is Eugene, Oregon. Right. But that probably would have – I'd have to go back and look, John, but that would probably be the last time I've been to Fayetteville. I didn't realize until we were driving in, and I actually even texted my son Steven, I didn't realize how close Fort Smith was to Fayetteville. And that's – Fort Smith is where Steven was for a few years. So, we're – as we're going through Fort Smith – and it is a beautiful drive-in. I will say that. I've never been a huge fan of Fayetteville, but that drive-in, from Oklahoma to Arkansas, it's beautiful there. So, as Kevin Washington said, you don't see a lot of this in Texas. You see a lot, but you don't see this. So it was a very nice drive-in, though.
Very cool. Glad y'all made it there safely. Last week you were with us from Carlsbad, California, there with the NCAA golf. Our women bowed out. What are your thoughts as we wrap up the women's golf season?
Yeah, it was just tough, John, because, and it played out that way. What you really have to do, and Jay talked about it even going into it, is you really need to play as many morning rounds as you can. And when we didn't get in the top 15 and had to play another afternoon round on Sunday, it just, you knew that was coming. I think there might have been one team out of that afternoon round that made it in to the top 15. So you have to be in there because the conditions are so much worse. And then it happened with Yurang Lee too. She made it to final round of stroke play, but again, she's in the afternoon, like the last tee times, and she makes 11 consecutive pars, and I think the wheels kind of fell off. She got a little frustrated. She had a 3-putt bogey on 12, and it just kind of fell from there. But it just shows you've got to be in that morning round. It's such a huge difference, John. You don't think of it being that much. It's not like it's these huge gusts, but it's just enough of a difference where, Baylor went from 1 over to 11 over, in second round. Right. And then shot, I think it was another 10 over in the third round. So you really just need to be in that morning round as much as possible. And, I don't know if you would have seen that, but kind of played out. Stanford beat USC. That was 1-2, and that's how it played out. So I will say one thing, though, John, this was kind of interesting because we were paired with them for the first 2 rounds, Eastern Michigan. And I don't think they had ever been to the NCAA championship. They had made I think their last regional was like 29 years ago.
Wow.
But they made it to the semifinals of match play and beat Texas in the quarterfinals. So what a story that was.
Yeah.
But playing with them, or paired with them for those 2 rounds, they had a donor give $20 million to each program, men's and women's golf. That's how Eastern Michigan got to the semifinals of match play.
Wow. How
Isn't
about
that incredible?
Yeah, it is. What a story. Yeah. That's great. And y'all got a Padres game in while you were out there.
We did. That was so much fun. Taking the train in from Carlsbad to San Diego, and then you take a little trolley over to the ballpark. It was so much fun. Got to see Shea Langoliers play against the Padres, and it was just a fun night.
Very cool. How about baseball has bowed out, I think, since the last time we talked, into the run for baseball in the Big 12 tournament out in Surprise, Arizona. But again, I mean, they battled to the very end. Their final game was an extra innings loss to Kansas, the team that won it.
Yeah, I thought when they got it to extras, John, that they would wind up winning it. And like you said, Kansas goes on and wins the championship. So I think my struggle with them would have been, where does the pitching go from here? Mm-hmm. But the fact that they just kept fighting, they never gave up, and I think that was a mark of this team. They obviously had some, tough stretches in the year, but they just would never throw in the towel. So, great run for them to really push Kansas and pushed them to extra innings. So I think it was another step up for Mitch in that group. Hopefully they can make that next step next year and make it into an NCAA regional.
Yeah, Baylor was the only team that played Kansas close. Kansas other games there were all blowouts. And also probably since the last time we talked, big changes on the softball coaching staff. How about the retirements of Hoot Jonigan and Brittany Newman?
Yeah, that was a blow to me, I guess, because those guys have been around for so long. I mean, Britt's been with Glenn for, I think she came in maybe the second or third year, and has been with him the whole time. And then Hoot, obviously part of our group for a long time, and been at Baylor for such a long time. But good for both of them, John, for family, putting family first. So it makes sense for them. I thought Hoot in particular, I think it totally made sense for him. I was a little surprised by Britt's announcement, but again, she put family first, and you can't ever argue with that. So I just wish both of them the best, and what a great run they've had at Baylor.
Yeah, very much so. They're going to be missed, but they'll still be around. And you're right; they're making the right decisions. So you got to say well done to both of them for
Absolutely.
That. Anything else that we need to talk about?
Well, I was going to tell you, even though I didn't get to see it, there was an amazing event yesterday at the NCAA West. This guy from Kansas State, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name, John. I think the last name is Chikamba.
Okay.
Kansas State, and he was in the long jump. He won the long jump by over 2 feet.
Oh my gosh!
Think
really?
about that.
Jeez.
So it was he had a 3.2 meter win behind him, so it wasn't a legal, college record, but It was the college all-time conditions best of 28 feet, 8.5 inches.
Good grief, 28 feet.
I was like, are you kidding me?
Unbelievable.
And this, to continue with that, so Stacy Smith, obviously our jumps coach, she was telling me about it, and he wasn't even on the board. He was behind the board when he left, and he jumped 28, 8.5. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, so it could have been 29 if he did the board.
Yeah, up there with Bob Beeman, So, I just wanted to throw that one in there. That was a great one. And one other thing, John, since we're trying to cover all bases, right? We spun the wheel.
Yes, we are.
A shout out to Johnny Kiefer and Cooper Dossie for top 10 finishes last week. Johnny on the PGA Tour over at the Byron Nelson, and Cooper Dossie on the Korn Ferry Tour. So great job by both of them. And I noticed that Johnny is playing this week at Colonial. And shout out to my dad. He was a marshal there for 40 years. So
wow.
This will be kind of a mixed blessing week for me. my dad's first, or my first colonial week without my dad.
Wow. All right. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah.
All right, man. It's great to see you. Glad you and Kev made it safely there to Fayetteville, and enjoy your time there. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate it. That is Jerry Hill, Baylor Insider.